Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So real quick, I previously made a video about this whole Tyrese and DJ Envy situation. Remember in the last video, they were trying to hash out their situation, but wasn't really saying why they fell out specifically. Now, I know DJ Envy had said that Tyrese was disrespectful towards his wife, and that's why he had blocked him, and that's why they stopped talking to him altogether, but they didn't really give any specifics. But recently, I saw a clip where DJ Envy was on the Breakfast Club talking about the situation again, and this time his wife was on as well, and they were giving more details as to why they stopped talking to Tyrese. Take a listen, and I'll come back with my opinion.
Tyrese is calling me a liar. For people that don't know, I stopped talking to Tyrese, and there was a reason why I stopped talking to Tyrese. Not because only did I think he was a bozo and full of ish, but also because of the way that I felt he was talking and conducting business with my wife. Tyrese helped save our relationship when we were going through probably our lowest point and I cheated. Tyrese came in and really helped us and guided us through our relationship, correct?
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
And then we got to a point where we stopped talking to Tyrese. I even blocked Tyrese, and I wanted to box his mouth, as I said the other day. And can you explain to the people why we stopped talking to Tyrese?
Well, we stopped talking to Tyrese on two different occasions. Once many years ago when he did do that amazing thing for us. He and I became friends, and we were very cool, and we spoke often. But for me, it got to a point where it became inappropriate and uncomfortable, where I felt as though lines were being crossed. You know, there was times where I felt like he was extremely demanding of my time and of my attention, where if I didn't give him my time and my attention, he would get very angry, get very upset. At that time, I didn't feel as though he was going through any mental issues. I didn't feel as though he was facing any mental challenges at that time. I know that he does go through things, and I know that he has been on medication, but at that time I felt as though he was very clear-minded and everything seemed cool. But when I started to feel uncomfortable and you started to feel uncomfortable, we took a step back.
Well, what lines were crossed? Because people would be like, well, what lines did he cross?
You know, I don't really feel comfortable being specific because at the same time, I still do have a respect for him. I know that you still do have a respect for him. I would feel more comfortable just being general and saying that, you know, there was flirting and inappropriate compliments for a woman who's married.
Okay, so there is a couple of things I want to address. First, I will say that I don't particularly like the way that DJ Envy was going about the situation, especially when Tyrese was not present at the time. And if you're going to have that conversation, I really would love for them to keep this off the air because it's extremely sensitive, and that's something that they should discuss amongst themselves. You know, I think they should have just left it at that last interview they did, and everything else should be worked out, you know, behind the scenes. Now, this is just a clip. I don't know what the premise of the conversation was or why it even got started again on the Breakfast Club, but I will say that I don't particularly appreciate how DJ Envy was about to make Tyrese look, especially when he wasn't there to defend himself. The next thing I will say is that I appreciate how the wife was very aware of how she approached the conversation and what details she actually provided because, like I said, it's a very sensitive subject that should be ironed out in private anyways. She kind of like gave some specifics, but not really. And even when DJ Envy tried to press her, she said that she was not comfortable and she would rather keep it on a generalized basis and confirm that there was that Tyrese was inappropriate and gave her inappropriate compliments for someone who is married. You know, I can respect that. The last thing I want to tackle, I know that folks may not agree with me, but I grew up way back when in Haiti, so I have a whole different set of values. And I will say that those values have kept me from being in certain situations. I'm not saying that people who do not share my same values are always in trouble. All I'm saying is that it was ingrained in me growing up that when you are married, it is not ideal to have close personal relationships with people of the opposite sex, and you definitely do not bring them into your relationship and have a triangulation. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm not saying that people don't do it, and I'm not saying that everybody that does it ends up in trouble, but that's usually where you're headed, because somebody always does the most and goes too far, and somebody is always offended. Tyrese could have just had a wonderful friendship with DJ Envy had he not decided to have one with the wife as well. Now, the wife said that she and Tyrese became close after Tyrese helped them fix their situation when they were going through their rough patch, and they would talk on the phone all the time. Like, mind blown. Ma'am, you're married, and Tyrese is not your friend. Tyrese is at best a resource with whom you have like a respectful relationship. You should not have been kikiing on the phone with Tyrese outside of your husband. Now, that's my backwards thinking, because that's the way I was raised. You don't necessarily have to agree with me, but as you can see in this prime example, Tyrese had too much access to this man's wife to the point where he started feeling entitled of her time, entitled of her doing favors for him, entitled of her attention. And if she refused him, he would get upset and he would get mad, allegedly. So it's a slippery slope. At first, when my dad used to teach me these things, I was like, this old man has no idea what he's talking about, you know. But I have seen way too many examples or times where it's never a situation where things work out great. I'm going to give y'all an example. I have two friends. This is the number that my dad did on me. I have two friends. I've been cool with them for a very long time. The three of us met at school and we used to hang out all the time. And at some point in time, they let me know that they were dating. I was like, cool, no problem. We would still hang out every now and again. One time, they picked me up to go to a movie, and when I got back, my dad gave me a whole speech about how wrong it was to hang out with a couple by myself. He gave me all the details, broke down all the specifics and all the implications as to why it was not a good idea to do something like that. And I didn't fully agree with him at first, but he broke it down so beautifully that I didn't even fight. And I have a rebellious streak, but I didn't even fight him, about that one. I just listened and I did what he advised. And from that moment on, they were a couple and she was my friend. I limited all access to him and his access to me. And if I needed something, I know he was somebody that I could ask, and vice versa. And we have done it. There are times like he would need information. He would hit me up. He would hit me up and same thing for him. So it's not like we're enemies or there's animosity. No, there's just this understanding. This is your girlfriend. I'm her friend. You're a resource, and so am I. So for my safety and my namesake, I kept my conversations with him to the very bare minimum. I'm talking about like maybe once or twice a year, barely a text thread. There's not much outside of happy birthdays and happy holidays and stuff like that. And then fast forward to them getting married. I was the maid of honor at their wedding. And by that time, I had already had a boyfriend, and they would invite me out to dinner. I would ask my boyfriend. He couldn't go. I didn't go. When I got married, they would then invite us to go on vacation. They would invite me to go on vacation. They're like, if your husband can come, it's fine. You could still come. And I would ask, I was like, let me check on my husband. I would ask the husband. The husband couldn't go, and I didn't go. Ain't no way I'm going on. No. And same thing goes for my husband. He has this really good friend. I've known him since he and I were dating, and I'm cool with him. He's good people's, but access and conversations are very limited. At best, again, he's a resource. If I'm like stuck at the airport, I have to have tried everything else. And if nothing else pans out, then he would be first in line for me to call, outside of all his other people. Outside of that, that's my husband's friend. And I'm not going to sit somewhere and just like, you know, start having conversation with him on the phone over and over outside of my husband. For what? No. I think all parties involved in situations like this need to be very careful, because it's all too common with what happened with Tyrese. They were very lucky that this guy didn't just overreact and just break up the marriage or delete Tyrese in a jealous rage, because you can see that he's still mad about the situation. And as much as people try, their anger is not usually towards their spouse unless there's like actual cheating. I'm not saying that he should have been angry towards his wife, because his wife didn't actually do anything wrong per se, except allowing this man to have too much access to her before she realized that it went too far, which she quote unquote did. And she did her due diligence and, you know, cut it off. But DJ Envy is still holding on to that grudge, and now they no longer have a friendship, which probably could have been salvaged had Tyrese understood that that was his friend's wife and not his friend. And the same thing for the wife. That's your husband's friend and not your friend. The only triangulation that should be in your marriage should be between you, God, and your husband. Anything else is a recipe for disaster, and this is Exhibit A. Anyways, I say all this to say that DJ Envy needs to figure himself out and let all that stuff go, because if a man had this much access to your wife to the point where he became inappropriate, that is partially on you. So he just needs to take responsibility for his part in the situation and just let it go. And like I said, I know it's not you guys' culture, but it really is beneficial. Now, let's get into some of these comments, Lord Jesus. Someone said he crossed those lines because she entertained it, and you allowed another man to talk to your wife on the regular like he a marriage counselor, so you open the door for that. He can't even handle his relationship. You need to box yourself in the mouth. I mean, when I did the first video, I just didn't understand what people were coming from with DJ Envy, but now I'm starting to get it with that second clip. I'm like, sir, why do you just need to take responsibility for yourself? Sometimes the level of anger that we experience is because we are upset with ourselves, and instead of taking that up with yourself, you would like to put it on somebody else. But trust me, you need to take that up with yourself. I know for a fact you need to take that up with yourself, and he needs to let that go, because he is partly responsible for how things went down, and he needs to stop blaming Tyrese alone. Somebody said, so they comfortable telling people about his mental health issues and him being on meds, but don't want to be specific on what he did. They foul. Everything should have been private, and that's the case. If that's the case, I do agree with this comment. Like they were discussing his mental health, but they weren't the one that, you know, put it out there. I think Tyrese was very open about that when he was present on the Breakfast Club. But yeah, I do agree that they should just keep all that stuff private. Like, it should not just work it out behind closed doors. You don't need to like put everything out on the internet. I don't know what people look for when they put stuff on the internet, but work your stuff out privately. Someone else said, I don't believe in being friends with my man's friends. I just keep things cordial just for this exact reason. Whew, someone else shares my views. Yes, for this exact reason. My husband's friends are not my friends, and my girlfriend's husbands are not my friends. Like, I talk to them, they're folks I know, but sir, you people are not my friends. Like that. It keeps things together. Like, marriages are way too complicated, and married people have a lot of other things to worry about than to be dealing with like problems that come with triangulations, when it's one of those things you can easily just avoid. Just don't befriend folks that you're not married to. Period. And the last comment I'm going to read, someone said, here come Envy with this bait. I'm sorry, let me get it together. That was funny. Here comes Envy with his beige rage. This some hoe-ish. You had that man in the studio face to face. Why call your wife to air ish out after the fact? It's giving salty that you allowed your wife to get close to another man, and now you're trying to flip the ish back. You're trying to flip the ish back on Tyrese. Envy, please. This is trash. That's what I was saying earlier. He was there, and you didn't feel the need to call your wife. You didn't want to get into any specifics. He specifically said, I'm going to talk to you after. but then you do another, and you bring this back up when the man is not there to defend himself, and then you put your wife on when you're supposed to keep this off of the internet and just keep working on it behind closed door to see if you guys can fix it. It's so messed up. I don't know why people feel like the internet is their friend. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Now, like I said, I don't know these people from Adam, so I don't know their pattern, but do you guys think this guy, Envy, is doing too much and he should just drop it? And do you think that was foul of him for like bringing this stuff back up while Tyrese was no longer there to defend himself? Let me know. And if you are married, do you allow triangulation? If yes, why? If no, why not? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next one. But until then, I hope to see you in the comment section. Bye.